Hi guys, so you may have seen in one of my recent videos, it's probably about a month or so ago now, I made a Blood Bowls Sevens pitch. Loved how this thing came out, 3D printed, and it was made by those awesome people over at Kraken 3D Studios. So I'll leave links down below, guys, so you can go check out obviously all their awesome work. But I just recently done a Kickstarter. So the Kraken Fantasy Stadium's Gates of Glory. So they're basically bringing out, well, some new bits and pieces to go with the huge array of stuff they already do for this pitch. So you get this pitch, but they do all the surrounding bits and pieces, stands and little huts and art. You need to go and check it out, guys. There's absolutely a ton of stuff, but they've just released a whole load of new stuff. I've been lucky enough to get hold of some of the files, so I'm going to do some 3D printing. But I'm not using just one 3D printer. I'm not even going to use two. I'm using use three different 3D printers. As you can see, I'm doing the base on my Bambu Lab A1. That's because I love doing the FDM bases because they don't warp, as opposed to doing a base in resin. Yeah, typically they can warp after a while. So I've got the sort of the main build bits, and I'm using my Halo to do this one. So very strange this one because obviously the build plate comes up. Sorry, not the build plate. The VAT comes up to the build plate. There are videos showing more of that. And I'm doing two of the guards on my Photon Mono 4. So yes, I've got three printers running, which is good because obviously it saves me time because they all kind of finish around the same time. Again, I'll leave links down below to all the 3D printers I use. But as I say, I definitely do prefer now using FTM printers for bases, just because it doesn't matter how you support it, almost how thick you make the base, in resin, they will warp, generally straight away. So all the pieces, yeah, they've all come out perfectly. And I say, guys, check out Kraken 3D Studios. They do other stuff other than just Blood Bowl. They do some sort of space stuff, and they do a ton of zombie stuff, which I absolutely love. So if you haven't noticed, the bit I'm actually doing now is it's like the front entrance, but this is the poor man's entrance. So we'll be doing another one of these builds showing the normal entrance into the Blood Bowl Stadium. So as you can see there, yeah, I did have some holes in the parts that I printed because I made them hollow. And obviously when you make things hollow, you need to have little holes in to let the resin out, which is why you'll just see me then showing you the green stuff, because obviously I filled the holes in afterwards. So I'm going to do some basing for this. And I know whenever I do miniatures, I don't do bases on miniatures because I like clear bases. That's not to say that I do actually really enjoy doing basing. So yes, it was fun making this little bit because obviously there was a lot of basing to it. So the other great thing, obviously, with the stuff for this Blood Bowls pitch, you make your bits, and then there's little clips you can use to put everything together, which is just awesome. So as you can see, yeah, everything's primed in black, come out really well. Now to do a bit of the old dry brushing. Again, I've still not got a white paint. Yeah, I need to get over that. But yeah, so I'm using this pale sort of colour. It's near enough to white. It's only just like a bit of an off-white. Yeah, it doesn't really matter too much. It is just to sort of differentiate between the nooks and the crannies, so they're still nice and dark, and all the flatter areas, yeah, they are painted. Probably a little bit too much on my brush. Generally, it is there's less paint on there, and I have to sort of go over a few times. But the finished result doesn't look too bad at all. Obviously, I should have just rubbed a bit more off on the textured dry brush palette. Guys, just want to say apologies now. I have got hay fever. So I am bunged up, itchy eyes, dribbly nose, the works. So if it does sound like I'm got a cold or something, it's no cold. It is just, it's hay fever. But there we go. So I mentioned that. So yeah, it's like going around highlighted. I mean, this is the bit I really love because when you get the miniatures, obviously you prime them in black, you can't then see much of the definition. When you do the dry brushing in white, yeah, all that lovely definition pops. I'm going to keep saying their name, Kraken 3D Studios. They're not sponsoring the video, guys. This is purely the fun video. Nothing's been sponsored. But I love their stuff because it is highly detailed and there's just so much of it. Honestly, you could make a stadium beyond anything else. It'd be absolutely huge, the amount of stuff they have to make bits and pieces for the stadium. And so now they're adding more bits is just crazy. But I love it. And I say this is going to be like the front entrance into the stadium. And yeah, these two beefy guards, well, if your name's not down, you're definitely not getting in past these. So yeah, doing this technique, it works exactly the same for terrain pieces as it does for doing the miniatures. So yeah, primed in black and then go over everything with a good old dry brush. Typically, if I can, he says, I try to do circular motions when dry brushing because you do get a softer, smoother sort of dry brush look. But as you can see in this video, nah, I'm just going left and right. But again, this sometimes does give really good results if you're looking for more of a scratched look underneath the paints you're going to use. So in this video, yeah, I'm using all Army Painter speed paints. Something I've been using for, whoa, I don't know. I mean, this channel's nearly 5 years old. I've probably been using them for at least 4.5 years, I guess. And one of the things I really love about the Army Painter speed paint range over any of the other ones I've got is just the pure amount there are. It's like the browns. I think I must have around about 12 browns. Greens, obviously, I love painting orcs. So the greens, I think it's like 18 different greens. So whatever sort of shade of colour you're looking for, the chances are it's already there. Yeah, I'm still using these little poppets to put the paint in. These work really well because they're easy to clean. And I do find the paint lasts longer on these than if I was to put it on a plastic sort of palette. Yeah, the rubber ones just seem to, I don't know, don't dry out as quick, which is really good. And the other thing, guys, if you do watch me paint, I do put paint on quite thick. Obviously, these are speed paints, so it doesn't really matter. It's not like you've got to thin your coats and all that kind of malarkey. But yeah, I do put it on quite thick, mainly because obviously, this is my excuse anyway. The thicker you put it on, the more you're going to have go into the recesses, nooks and crannies, so the darker those areas will be. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it, Your Honour. But yeah, again, we all paint differently because we all we all want to paint differently, and we all expect or want different results. So again, how I'm painting isn't for everyone, but it certainly is for me. It makes me happy. I love how the results come out. And obviously, one of the big things again for me is it is fast. It's fast, quick, convenient, with results. Yeah. Again, guys, if you want a bit of fun, go and check out some of my videos that I did within the first year of having this channel. And in every video, you'll hear me complain, moan, whinge, and just say I hate painting. Absolutely hated it because I could never get good results. I could spend hours on a miniature, and all I'd end up doing was making it worse. It wouldn't get any better. Me spending like 2 hours on a miniature or 10 minutes on a miniature. And it really wasn't until obviously speed paints came in that things started to get obviously a bit better. And then that good old first Slapchop video that I watched a couple of years ago, where, yeah, doing the old paint, priming in black, then dry brushing in white, just makes speed paints and whatever paints you use, contrast paints, just makes them pop even more. There's more contrast between the light and the darker areas. So as you can see, yeah, I'll put a lot of paint on and it's obviously leaking here and there. But again, I don't care now. And that's one of the other big differences with painting. I used to care too much. Might sound strange, but yeah, if you care too much, it's like almost getting a new sofa and you don't want to spill any drinks on it. So whenever you get a drink or food around your new sofa, you're being extra careful. And the chances are you're probably going to drop the food because you are being extra careful. Same with painting, I found. Care less, have more fun. Whatever happens, happens. And at the end of the day, if you really don't like it, you can change it. Whereas I think I used to be so particular that I wanted to get everything right first time. For a lot of reasons, it put me off painting, so I didn't paint much, which is obviously bad because then it means you're never ever going to get better if you don't put any paint on. And yeah, I was just too fixated, and then say you just try and be too neat. What you can see here, I'm painting, and some of that paint went onto the stone, which again actually worked out as a good thing because then some of the grey stone had that colour over the top of it and made it look even more like stone. So you'll see in a minute, I go over all the stones with that paint just because I liked the result. And again, as Bob Ross would say, happy little accidents. And this is where I think when you do care less but have more fun when you're painting, yeah, certain things happen and you're like, oh, that's come out really well. That's sometimes like mixing paints or putting a speed paint over another speed paint when it's either dry or even if it's still wet. Just seeing what the results are and you come across something that you would never normally do because you're being too particular, and it just comes out really well. Anyway, I am totally waffling over this video, and I think I don't think I've said anything about what I'm actually doing. But again, I always feel that, guys, you can see what I'm doing in the video. I show each color. So apologies that I don't actually sort of say the name of each color as I'm using it. But obviously you can see the name of the color on the screen. And if you need to, just stop so you can see it, or rewind, because obviously it's YouTube. You can pause things, go make yourself a cup of tea, come back, get a pen and paper. So yeah, the pallid bone, as you can see, some of it obviously spilt out onto the stone. And I love the look of it because the stone looks almost too bluey, whereas this gives them a bit more of a, well, in my opinion, a bit more of an earthy, natural looking colour. Plus this pallid bone stuff, I've almost started using it as a wash just because I love the look of it. So I need to get a new white and a new pallid bone, that's for sure, because well, the white I've had a white for about the last month or two, and this pallid bone Army Painter Speed Paint, I'm using it like a wash just because I love the results. And there we go. So that's that pretty much done. Obviously, need to do the basing, but I'm going to do that once I've got my my two beefy guards on there. And yeah, it's exactly doing the same sort of thing with them. They've obviously been primed in black, dry brushed white, and now, yes, I almost say I see this as like painting by numbers, and that's why I honestly believe obviously anyone can do this kind of style painting and get these results, because there's nothing technical about this at all. And as you can see, yeah, I don't always keep within the lines. Sometimes I do go outside the lines, but again, don't worry about it. Don't try too hard. Just don't worry. I mean, even like brush sizes. Typically, I normally use a real small brush size, but now I'm using the bigger one because obviously it gets more paint on quicker. And yeah, if bits go over the edge, they go over the edge. But yeah. So yeah, the Iron Painters do a big range of metallic paints as well. So say, guys, I don't really have a preference on which paints I use, as in like one make over the other. So obviously I'm using a lot of Army Painter paints here. I do have a lot of the green stuff, different inks here. I did used to have some of the Citadel contrast paints. Because I wasn't using them, I sold them. Because yeah, I think I had the full set. I'm not too sure. But I do want to get into hold of visit the AK. They do a new range. So yeah, if anyone works for AK or knows AK, yeah, if they want to send me some free paints, I would love to give theirs a little try. So yeah, there's no real preference over one color company to another. Typically, I do use whatever color is more appropriate to what I want to do. But yeah, the Army Painter range, I think they just seem to have so many colours. It does make it a good option to go for. Because say like the browns, there's so many browns. Some look like leather, some look like fur, some look like dirty, rusty bits of brown. And again, it just makes it easy because you don't have to do any mixing of any colours. There is pretty much every colour you can think of, and well, a whole lot more that are already pre-made, which is good. Although I have in a couple of videos mixed the speed paints together just to get a kind of a variation of a colour. Again, this is where it's all about having fun, trying new things, just messing about really. And yeah, some of the results have come out really well, and some, yeah, it just came out pants. But hey ho, it's all the fun of trying. So yeah, again with Army Painter paints as opposed to say Green Stuff World, I know I say obviously I like to put a lot of paint on. If you do go to the Green Stuff World, different inks, they are a lot more fluid, or my technical term is they're a lot more waterier. So yeah, be careful with those. You don't want to put too much on because they will just sort of they will run all over the shop. But again, I love the results because they are more fluid. They definitely do go into the nooks and crannies a whole lot more. And I guess that's kind of why with the Army Painter Speed Paints, I do put them on quite thick because I kind of like that look of the recesses being even darker. So yeah, love how these guys are coming out. Again, guys, I'll leave the links down below, but check out Kraken 3D Studios. Again, say this video not sponsored in any way. I'm not being told what to say. Well, as you guys know, even when I am being sponsored, I'm never told what to say, and that's one of the main things I always tell companies. That obviously, if they want to send me stuff and want to pay me to show stuff, that's great. But I really will do it in sort of my way. Talk about things in layman's terms because that's kind of how I am. I'm not very technically minded. I do like things that are plug and play, and when I don't play, I don't know what to do. Yeah, turn it off and on again is obviously the main thing to do. So yeah, I always use my words. Uh, anyone who's been here long enough knows none of my videos are scripted. I think that's kind of obvious in the way I talk and chat because I do waffle, go off at tangents, and yeah, probably repeat myself a ton of times and say an R because I'm not reading off of anything. I don't even have like bullet points. There is literally, yeah, I just waffle. But there we go. I feel nuts now because I'm sitting in a room on my own, chatting away. This is kind of how I used to feel when I used to do the live sort of painting and stuff. It was just me sitting in a room, chatting to myself, feeling like an absolute nutter. But hey ho, that's YouTube for you. Yeah, one of the best jobs I've ever had. And I used to be a graphic designer, wedding photographer, and well, a whole ton of other jobs. Because when I was in my early 20s, I am waffling now. When I was in my early 20s, I spent about 5 years traveling around the world, doing temporary jobs, and yeah, just having a whole lot of fun. So yeah, I've done a lot of jobs, and this is by far one of the best, if you can call it a job, because it's not really a job. I'm just being a big kid messing about, painting, and then sitting in a room talking to myself. Anyway, guys, I hope you are enjoying the video as much as I am. Apologies if it's your first time here and you're thinking, what's this guy on? He's a nutter. He's just waffling away. He's not really talking about what he's actually doing on the screen. Yeah. So pallid bone, yes, I do need to get another one of these because this did take a hammering with this video. And with, I think the last couple, actually, I've been using it, say, a whole lot more just because yeah, it's a great wash. I'm not even sure if I've got any washes anymore. Possibly not. Oh, I've got a Citadel one, I think. The old Agrax Earthshade or whatever it's called. But yeah, so I need to write a list of what I need. I need white paint for sure because I've not had any of that for a good few months. And yeah, I need to get some more sort of like sepia looking washes. I've never been a fan of like the old like black washes. I just think they seem to make things look, I don't know, dirty. Whereas like the sepia sort of brown looking washes, yeah, I just think they make things look a little bit more aged, and especially with metals, they can make the metal look a bit sort of rusty, and yeah, definitely worn, beaten, battered, and all that kind of look. But yeah, so these absolutely love how these come out. Obviously, everything's painted really white. Oh, this is me just saying, yeah, I painted the teeth and the eyes and the nails. I think I did quite a good job with the eyes. Obviously, yeah, there's no pupil in there, but the actual white bit, I think I did quite well. How people actually paint the pupils, I don't know. I know people are probably going to suggest, yeah, you get a little pin, dip that, and then do it. I would definitely have a cross-eyed person then. So basing, yeah, I've got this little mixture. I think there's about 4 different sort of greens of grasses in there, a few bits of cork, and a few little stones. I mean, that box, I've been using that for years. Yeah, I don't even know when I first mixed up that stuff, but that's been going for ages. So that's kind of like my go-to mix. I did used to have one of those static grass what's-its. I never really noticed a big difference. Obviously, if you look closely, then yeah, you can see the grass is standing on end. But from any sort of distance, yeah, you couldn't really tell. And sometimes they're more trouble than they're worth, them things. So yeah, I just put the grass on. It's laying flat. It looks like it's been trodden on, basically. But yeah, comes out really well. So PVA glue, and then yeah, just sprinkle it on. Again, there's no real sort of science here. It's you do it how you want to do it, and obviously you put the stuff where you want to put it. So yeah, so the basing again, I do enjoy basing, even though I don't really do much of it. So I do have like bits of grass, and you'll soon see I use some leaves for the first time ever. And again, though, these 2 bottles of leaves you're going to see coming up in a minute. I've had them, I don't know, I've had them over a year or so. Never ever used them, but yeah, love them. So that's why this has got the an autumn kind of feel to it. That's kind of one of my favourite seasons is autumn when the leaves are dropping, lovely browns, greens, all those sort of like earthy tones. So yeah, I've used me leaves for the first time ever. So as this is obviously an entrance into the stadium, I kind of feel the walkway between these 2 guards. It'll be a lot more muddy, a lot more trodden on. So yes, I've got these 2 browns. Again, they're the Army Painter Fanatic range. Kind of like a mixture of the 2. Again, just because I don't want this to look like a solid colour. So there's a bit of a lighter and a bit of a darker one going on here. Yeah, it went down really well. But then obviously, even though it was like meant to look like mud, it still looked too clean, too neat, too tidy, really. So again, good old washes. Can't go wrong with washes. So yes, I have got some washes. Oh, I forgot. So I'm using 2 different ones, again, just to sort of mix it up. So I don't want it to look uniformed. So some areas are going to be obviously the lighter wash and some the darker sort of wash area. Why I'm using a dry brush, I don't know. I just felt it was an appropriate brush to use. I don't think it makes any difference. I think it would have been exactly the same if I'd used my normal brush or my bigger brush. I think if anything, if I used my bigger brush, I would have got paint on a lot quicker and probably a lot thicker. Whereas obviously, yeah, as you can see dabbing it. But again, it's worth trying these new things. And there we go, guys. This is the poor man's entrance into the Blood Bowl Stadium. And yeah, it's a simple basing, but effective. Oh, I did put little tufts of grass on as well. Apologies, I forgot to video that bit. So there's a normal sort of mix of grass, little tufts of grass, and then the leaves. And then, yeah, I love it. So big thank you to Kraken 3D Studios for giving me early access to these prints. Because this is part of a Kickstarter, which I believe ended today. I will leave links to say the Kickstarter if it's still there, so you can go and see obviously all the new stuff that's coming out. But I will leave a link to their main sort of channel where you can see more of their sort of stadium stuff, as well as I say the other stuff they do. They do the fantasy stuff, sort of Dungeons and Dragons-y like. Tons of zombies. I've downloaded a lot of their zombie stuff. I'm still yet to really do much with it, but that's definitely on my list because, well, I love zombies and anything to do with zombies. Okay, guys, hope you enjoyed the video and, well, and the waffling. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. There's another video coming up on the screen. It'd be great if you click that and see more of what I do. And you guys all take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.